people of the internet. I have something to talk with you about. So I recently turned on my YouTubes and I saw a friend of the show, Anthony Fantano, talking mean about my man, Tim Pool. Now, I'm just going to play the clip so you can hear what the drama's about, and then we'll get into it. Listen.
Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you're doing well, and let's get based and Bandcamp pilled with this recent cool Bandcamp news. Yes, the music community-oriented streaming and music purchasing platform, they are sort of in the sights of various right-wing online pundits as of right now because seemingly they have taken down the music of one Mr. Tim Pool, who, if you're unfamiliar with this guy, long story short, he's basically like a vanilla or a Diet Coke version of Alex Jones, just as full of crap, just as dishonest, except he sort of knows when to shut his mouth and be a bit more strategic with his crazy far-right views. For example, recently when Kanye was on his recent bigotry tour, Tim was only so happy to have him on and platform him and give him a place to talk, but he wouldn't go so far that he...
All right. First and foremost, the Kanye thing. I mean, who's not going to have Kanye on? If Kanye calls you, I don't care if he comes on to say, you know, he wants to have Hitler's baby or whatever. He's getting on. I don't care who you are. That's Kanye, you know? You would put him on your show if he called you, Fantano. Don't even lie. So Anthony lists all these things. He goes to this list, and I'm not going to get into too much detail or play the whole thing. You can go watch it if you want. But he gives 5 reasons why Bandcamp was right to do this. Which, let me start by saying, I don't think they're right to do this. And the ACLU agrees with me. And here's what the ACLU has to say. Why does the ACLU defend free speech for Nazis, KKK members, and others who advocate racist or totalitarian doctrines? Why do they, you ask? Well, because we believe that the constitutional guarantee of freedom of speech and press would be meaningless if the government could pick and choose the persons to whom they apply. The ACLU's responsibility since its founding in 1920, wow, has been to make sure that all are free to speak, no matter what their ideas. Then you have this guy, Noam Chomsky, who wrote this book called Manufacturing Consent, which a lot of people should read. And he says, if we don't believe in freedom of expression for people we despise, we don't believe in it at all. Do we now? Okay, so that aside, let's read through Fantano's list here. Okay, first thing he says, they have a one hat policy. Ha ha ha, one hat, I get it. Tim Pool wears multiple hats, I get it. Huh, funny, okay. Second, Bandcamp is a private company. Now, it's interesting because people, especially people on the left, started making this argument to defend censorship when Facebook and Twitter were doing it. Oh, it's a private company. Yeah, it's a private company until it affects you. And, you know, you can say what you want about Bandcamp, but this is a dumb argument. It's a private company. Fantano uses the argument in his thing about the people, the bakery who wouldn't who wouldn't bake a cake for the gay people. It's a private company, Anthony. Yeah, the people who bake in the cake for it's a private company. They shouldn't. You won't be consistent, okay? Then he says, number 3, he's Tim Pool. So this is where he says that, okay, Tim Pool advocates all these right-wing views that are horrible and whatever, but he doesn't point to any specifics, which is always suspicious to me. It's just like, this person's bad, cancel them, no specifics. Number two is Tim Pool makes shitty music, which, okay, great, I'm sure he does, but you're not advocating that they kick Kid Rock or Tom McDonald off, are you, Anthony? So, you know, there's that. And then there is no number one in his list for whatever reason, but I'm just going to add, because I don't like his politics for number one. That's the number one reason that Tim Pool should be kicked off Bandcamp. Now, when you really break it down, who gives a fuck about Bandcamp? Let's be honest. Like, Bandcamp is minimal. If Tim Pool's smart, he'll go to DistroKid or something, you know. But I wanted to take a little trip down memory lane here because not too long ago, someone else was being accused of being a right-wing alt-right troll who platformed right-wingers. Who could that have been? Oh, it wasn't a guy named Anthony Fantano who was smeared by the Fader as platforming white supremacists. Yeah, let's listen to this here.
This company doesn't like you having your music on their platform. They've taken it down. Stop being a baby. The number 3 reason Tim Pool has had his music taken down off of Bandcamp is because he's a crypto-fascist with heinous views, which are a harm to the other creators on the platform. If you're actually familiar with the Bandcamp platform, you know that there are quite a few people on there making music and uploading music there on a regular basis who are part of the LGBTQ community, who are POC, and frankly, the types of views that Tim Pool platforms on his YouTube channel regularly are a harm to those creators. And I'm sure at the end of the day...
So Tim Pool platforms people that are a harm. Who else got accused of platforming people that are harm? Let's listen to this.
Defend myself from being accused of pandering to the alt-right. And I guess... let's just get into it. The article starts off well enough saying I'm the most famous music critic. That's true. Thank you. But then quickly gets into, I guess, the heart of the matter, and that is my now dead meme channel. That is the plan.
Anyway, he gives this long description of why he's not a platforming white supremacist. But the point here is, have some perspective, Anthony. We live in a world now where, listen, let me just say this, okay? I love Anthony Fantano. I'm a fan. He's put me on to quite a bit of fantastic music, and I owe him a lot for that. You know, I've discovered a lot of great artists through his channel. But you also need to slow your roll and remember when you were in the same position. I mean, if you can point to specific things that Tim Pool's said or done that are, you know, fascist or whatever, fine. But we live in a world now where people make these accusations that you're a Nazi all the time without any evidence. People get called a Nazi and a pedophile, and these are really serious accusations to make about someone, as I'm sure you know, Anthony. And you need to have evidence if you're going to make these claims about people. You know, Bandcamp aside, fuck Bandcamp. Like, Tim Pool will be fine without Bandcamp. And, you know, what's really happening is Bandcamp showing their ass because, okay, they're going to deplatform someone. They're part of that censorship regime where it's like, I don't like what you say, so we're going to pull the plug on you. If you support that, you're an idiot, because eventually that cannon is going to be turned towards you. Eventually Trump will be president again, or some asshole, you know, DeSantis, you know, eventually it'll be someone that you don't like that's not Joe Biden that's president, and the cannon will be turned at you. So it's not smart to participate in these kind of like digital, you know, smear campaigns against people. Tim Pool has a lot of people on his show that I disagree with, and I don't agree with Tim Pool all the time, but I don't think he's a Nazi, and people need to stop taking these things to ridiculous lengths, or lengths that ridiculous. It's like, it's so ridiculous. It's the same thing with the conservatives calling people groomers and whatever. You know, it's like, people can live and do their thing. You know, the kids thing makes it a little dicey, but you know, that's a whole other issue. Point being, you know, when it comes to censorship, deplatforming and shutting these people down, or trying to hide their, like, cut them off, only makes them stronger. And the best way to deal with them is let them speak. Let them expose themselves. Argue with them. Make a better argument. Explain to them why they're idiots. You know, the reality is there aren't a lot of hateful Nazis out there. Sure, there are some trolly people that say mean shit, but when it really gets down to brass tacks, there aren't a lot of Nazis out on the internet, and there's this weird paranoid new mentality that we just need to shut everyone off because we heard something about them that we disagreed with. And again, I would respect Fantano if he had receipts here, if he was like, hey, here's when Tim Pool said burn all gay people or something, you know. But I've never heard Tim Pool say anything like that. And he's also not responsible for everything that someone who appeared on his show says. I mean, that's ridiculous. Is Anthony Fantano responsible for everything someone who appears on his show says? It's just a ridiculous precedent and a ridiculous standard to try to hold people to, and it really disappointed me to see him doing this, especially given his history of being accused of racism. So anyway, I still love you, Anthony, but this is a bad look.